Have you ever spent your lunch period watching random YouTube videos in the library because the people you usually sit with are out sick and Kyle said you couldn't sit with him, so you end up watching a 48-minute long talk about farming and yachts that's so weirdly interesting you decide to also make a video about farming and yachts? Yeah, me neither. This is the 100% totally historically accurate tale of how America got all the ladies to be like, "Oh, America, you're so smart and good at stuff." Anyway, that video is really long, so I'm just gonna give you the good parts. I know what you're thinking. That's plagiarism, but this guy doesn't own facts, okay? If only one person was allowed to talk about history, we wouldn't have Hamilton. Let me set the stage. The year was 1851, and British people hated Americans. This thing called the Great Exhibition was starting, which is where countries from around the world meet in London to show off new futuristic technologies, like horses. Exciting times, but the Victorian newspapers were not excited about the visiting Americans. Here's a quote.
"Whenever they enter into competition with European elegance, they make themselves ridiculous. Their furniture is grotesque, their cut glass is clumsy, and their daguerreotypes are the sternest."
Which is so mean. Say what you want about my furniture, but how dare you speak ill of my daguerreotypes? Whatever those are. In the exhibition hall, each country was showing off their plows and zeppelins, probably, and for 3 weeks, attendees laughed at the small American plows. We were the underdogs. But when it came time to test everyone's plows, ours were so good. Just like, plow, ka-chow, farming. We were plowing up a storm and everyone was like, "Whoa, no way, I love farming." We made hella plow money. At that point, the newspapers are like, "Oh, I guess Americans aren't totally dumb, like, they can have farming, I guess." We had a whole continent to manifest our destiny all over, so it made sense that we'd be pretty good at agriculture. But the English didn't worry too much because they could still claim to be better at rich people stuff, like yacht racing and cheating at golf. That is, until some enterprising Americans built a super sick racing yacht and everyone was like, "Whoa, that boat's so fast, what's its name?" And the guy that made it is like, "America!" So they took the America to the UK to race a bunch of snooty British yachts around the Isle of Wight. Parties are held all around the island to watch. It's a very excited atmosphere, and people are super interested to see how the American boat does. The America starts the race with a fouled anchor. By the time they even get going, they're well behind everyone else, and the spectators are like, "Boo, Americans are only good at farming." But by the time the rest of the yachts start to pass the first party on the island, the America is in the middle of the pack, and the spectators there are like, America isn't losing. Good for her. Meanwhile, at the finish line, the Queen's barge is docked and all the country's elites are drunk, probably excitedly waiting to see how the race ends. Eventually, a single boat pulls in. The America. And during the race, pulls up next to the Queen's barge so the entire crew can take their hats off and bow to the Queen before crossing the finish line. The newspapers the next day said that was like a horse jockey stopping just to wave to the audience. The America still won by 7 frickin' miles. The crowd went wild. People were shooting off guns. Birds were terrified. When they announced the winner, the Queen asked, "Who's second?" And they replied, "Nobody." That race was so epic that they renamed the trophy itself to the America's Cup, which yachts still compete for. And from then on, all the other countries wanted to sit with us at lunch, and we're like, "Yeah, man, that's cool, you can sit with us." Because cool kids don't let people sit alone at lunch, Kyle.